Hello guys, Oskar here, and welcome back to a new Minecraft tutorial. Now today we're learning all about sheep, and all about dispensers and shears, observers, block updates, you name it. And that's because we're going to be building a wool farm. And this is an automated wool farm. You can AFK completely, you don't need to do anything like that. And it produces a lot of wool. This is probably after, I don't know, an hour and 15, maybe an hour and 30 minutes of having this world up. And yeah, that's what we've gotten so far. So if you'll stick with me, we'll hop right into this and I'll teach you guys how to build this thing. Alright, so for every farm, well, at least almost every major farm, it's almost always made up of smaller farms. And same with computers, with most really powerful things actually. Okay, I'm not going to get too into this. But yeah, so we want to start out building one single cell. Now this design here has 28 cells. You can always build it out further. You can do more that way, you can do more rows, you can do a lot of things. But this design here is going to be 28 little cells. And to start out, you want a grass block. It could be a block of dirt too. It doesn't really matter at this point. And you want to just get an observer out like this. And the way this is set up is it'll detect a block update whenever there's an update in this grass block. And then that will run straight out into this block right here. I've said block a lot in these last like 2 sentences. And that'll go into a dispenser. And in that dispenser, you want to put a pair of shears. And that pair of shears is what's going to be giving you your wool. So you could always fill it up with more like this, but it's really not necessary because each of these will have 238 uses. So between 238 and, just quick math on my calculator, between 238 and 714 wool before these things break. So yeah, you don't really need that many, but you could always just get prepared for that if you have a lot of iron or whatever. Yeah. Then you want to just build up your cell like this, and then that's where your sheep will go, and then go like that, and then get your sheep in there somehow. You can always go back afterward and put all your sheep in with rails or wherever. It doesn't really matter. And then you just want to cap it off with a slab like this. This isn't 100% necessary, but I like it. It also, I think it'll stop spawning on there actually, now that I think of it, which is good. Hold on. Okay, don't need to worry about that anymore. And yeah, so that slab will, oh there, we can see it right now, that was perfect timing. That's exactly what will happen, is the grass will grow or be broken, and then your sheep will get sheared, and then it'll grow back. Your sheep will, in theory, get sort of, I guess, air sheared again. That doesn't really make a difference. And then your sheep will eat it, grow back some wool, and then it'll get sheared again, and then we'll pick up that wool. Alright, and then that will be one cell. And then next cell, you want to just make a checkerboard pattern like this for all your other ones. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you just build it out like that. Get more glass. I like to do the glass first. You don't have to though, you can do any order. You can even do it inefficiently like this. But you want to make sure you leave one place open for the dispenser. But that's not too difficult. You just continue placing your glass in a weird random motion like I am, which is great. And I'm running like 20 frames a second. I don't know if you guys can see very well. I complain a lot about my frame rate on these videos. Alright, but anyway, yeah, then you put in your observers, then you put in your solid blocks. Yeah, these have to be solid blocks, by the way. If you don't know that about redstone blocks, they can only They can only transport a signal through a solid block. Something like glass will not transport a signal. And then after that, you want to just place in your redstone. That'll power the dispensers. And then continue to try to place your dispensers in without much luck. And then put in your shears. Alright, once all that's put in, you just want to build up your glass all the way around. And make sure you put it on top of the dispensers as well. That's pretty important. Every now and then people might forget about that. Just don't do that. That's not a good scenario. Okay, and then you want to get your sheep in somehow. Good luck with that. I can't really help you there. And yeah, you go through here, get your sheep, pretend that you can spawn them in. I'm gonna pretend that you guys didn't have to struggle with them. But yeah, and I want to point out, if your sheep is a different color, you could always dye it, but it won't make a difference. So I'm not sure if we can see it or not. Maybe, I don't know. Either way, but no matter what color your sheep are, you'll get that color of wool. So say you needed a ton of blue wool, you could just use a little bit of dye to dye all the sheep, and then you would get blue wool, which is really useful. So I'm going to get some white dye actually, now that I think of it, just for simplicity's sake. We can all just see all the same color. And then, so yeah, once your sheep are in, there you go, and then you just put in your slabs, and then your farm is not done in the slightest. You actually have to do another row, like this. I'm trying to talk and build on the fly, it's not that easy. And then you just build a row of grass blocks, where is it? Yeah, right here, like that. And then what that does is it makes it so that this grass grows back on here, and it doesn't just go away forever when your sheep eats it. And then that keeps this farm running forever instead of just once. And then you want to build this up on the other side. Okay, so by the end of this, this is what your farm should look like. It's completely squashed together. These guys will be sharing a wall here, right on top of this. And then it's just the same way mirrored. It's not too complicated. I'm sure you guys can figure it out. You're smart. And yeah, after you've built this one half of the farm, once again, you could always build 30 of these. You could build way out that way. You don't really need to though, unless you want to. Then the next thing you want to do is just build this up again. I have a 1 block wide gap in between these two, redstone dust, and so that would make it so you could just build out like this, like that, and then you already know that it goes like that, and then you're prepared to start building your other half, which I'm sure you guys can figure out as well. Okay, so this is what your farm should look like, assuming you've been following directions, which I'm going to assume you have. And this is the full 28 modules. Now the only thing we have to do next is the collection system, because this wool over here. Let's see if I can even find this. Find any. Nope. Oh yeah, right here. This wool over here is not any use to us when it's sitting on these blocks. So what we want to do is go down here, 1 block under each of these, and just build a minecart, build a rail line. Well, it's going to be a rail line all the way over here, and then build over to the other one, all the way over here, all the way throughout your farm. Then you just want to build up a little end pieces, like this, all the way around. And then I'm going to set it to be daytime again, all the way around. And then once you've completed that, you want to get yourself some rails. I should have had these in my inventory already. And you want to get yourself a block of redstone. And what you're going to do is build out like this, and then a block of redstone on each end, and then 3 powered rails here. And then fill in the rest with the right kind of rails, not detector rails. And then you want to repeat this on the other side. Alright, and then so your completed track should look like this. Then you want to get yourself 4 minecarts with hoppers, and then just place them in like this, right on these smaller sets of powered rails. And then we're going to be building up the circuitry to power these. So to get started with these powering things, you want to get started with just some repeaters running into these blocks. Now when these repeaters are powered, they're going to power that rail. See what we did there? And then you want these to be connected to 1 wire so that they both power these minecarts. And then you want to get a pulse extender. And the way I did that was just build it out like this, and then I have them like both closer together. It just makes it look better. But anyway, connected to this line, no matter where you do it, you want to get a pulse extender. And it doesn't really matter how, it doesn't really matter where you put it, like I said. It's just as long as it's right, it's connected to this wire here. And then after that, what you're going to do is build a clock. Alright, so we're going to be building the Etho hopper clock, and the way we do that is with sticky pistons. And so as my point of reference, I would take a sticky piston, put it 2 blocks out from the center of these 2 farms. That's how I centered it. You could always do it somewhere else. Once again, it just has to be just has to be in between this. Well, it just has to be connected to this, basically. That's yeah. So just put it here. It's a lot easier to explain if I could just have you guys following with me. So yeah, and then you want to build out a redstone block like I showed there, and then 2 hoppers running into each other. And then on that side, you want to do another sticky piston like this. Decorate. It's just like that. And then you want to do something like this, and then something like that, and then a comparator right here. And then that's going to power this piston. And then you want the same on the other side. So that would be right down here, you get a comparator, and that goes into a block, which then goes into some dust. And then now your clock's completely done. And what you want to do is take 2 stacks of whatever, 2 times 64. Can't be any other stack, or it shouldn't be, I don't think. I don't know what issues that would cause. And then that's your clock all completed. So every time 2 stacks will be in the other hopper, it'll switch. So basically every 4 stacks of item movement, this thing will fire. And how are we going to fire this thing, you ask? You want to start out by taking a redstone line like this. And then that will run into something else. I'm going to break clips here. Sorry, I felt a sneeze coming on there. And so that'll run right next to a piston. And then that will then in turn go into a redstone repeater, which is a monostable circuit. And that creates a 1-tick pulse. And then I go here, like that. And then you want to keep these lines separate. So you want to use a solid block there. And then just connect these two. And I did this with a repeater coming down like this. And doing a repeater output into there. So go like that, like this, and then this isn't totally necessary, but I like it just because it's at the same time. You can put a repeater like that just so that these two fire at the same time. And now your wool farm is almost complete. It's got almost a collection system, and I actually forgot to tell you guys, for the minecarts, you want these blocks to be hoppers here, which I completely spaced. I'm sorry about that. And that goes down there like that, and then powered rails, just like before, just with hoppers instead. Sorry about that. There, so yeah, these ends should look like this now. I'm sorry about that, I just didn't do that right. You'd want to take your hopper minecarts, because you broke them and forgot to put them back, and go to this side, and put your hopper minecarts back in. And these should be partially into this block. That's the whole key behind this thing, is that when this thing gets powered, it'll start the minecart moving. Like if there's a minecart right here, it won't, but if there's a minecart there, it will. And it looks like we actually got some wool there, which is cool, shows our farm's working. And then you want to just get a storage system. You can link this up to whatever storage system you want, but I think the easiest one is just to take some chests like this, put them down like that, and then you could like I said, you could link these to literally whatever. It could be any storage system. You could keep it in these hoppers if you want. That just wouldn't be very efficient. And then yeah, and then that's it. Your farm is complete. Now the last thing that I usually do is add a little bit of control. Oh wow, that's a lot. Jeez, what is going on? That was weird. Okay, so yeah, I add a little bit of control. So what I do is I take a block here and a lever on here. When that lever's on, that locks this hopper, which makes it so that this clock is off, so the farm's off. And then I built out a little platform like this, centered around the thing. It doesn't really matter. This is all like my own aesthetic stuff here. And your farm is totally complete. You could build up a thing in AFK. You could do whatever. But yeah, so this farm totally works, as shown by the empty chest. Hold on, let's wait for this clock to be ready to go. Alright, this clock's about to fire. Right? Yeah, there we go. There go the minecarts. Picking everything up. Going through here. And then here come the items. We get lots of wool from this farm. It's actually really crazy. And a cool thing about this farm, actually, I didn't realize this before, but these two sheep, since they're sitting right over the hopper minecart, no matter what, their wool is always getting picked up. So yeah, which is actually just a cool feature of this farm. But that rounds out this episode, or this video. So I want to thank you guys for watching. That really does mean a lot to me. And if you hadn't already, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing. That would mean a lot too. But thank you for watching. This has been Oscar, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you later.